In this canopy, survival often means crossing gaps without touching ground. The same island links rainforest, reef, and exposed volcanic shore. From waterline watchers to macaques, each niche sets different rules. Specialists share these trees, from daylight raptors to night-adapted hunters. Beneath the water and above the slopes, food webs remain connected. Dense forest still forms the living base of this whole landscape. Its layered valleys offer shelter, travel routes, and feeding places. Offshore, reefs extend the island's network beneath the surface. Above the ridges, an eagle patrols on broad, deliberate wings. In shade, slower mammals conserve energy until movement becomes worthwhile. Beyond the forest edge, people have reshaped water and slopes. Open edges bring new perches where hunters watch for opportunity. Still, the largest raptors depend on high, mature trees. Every ridge drains seaward, tying mountain forest to coastal nurseries. Fresh water carries nutrients down, while reef fish gather below. Across habitats, adaptable feeders exploit whatever the season provides. From macaques, social awareness is as useful as strong hands. Waterfalls cut corridors through the forest, shaping movement downhill. At the margins, small birds search quickly where insects gather. The sequence rises again, from reef life to forest hunters. A high perch lets the eagle read the forest below. Its patience matters, because large prey is never easy to find. Even exposed branches can become lookout posts over hunting territory. Nest sites demand secrecy, shade, and strong branches beneath cover. The bird waits, saving energy while scanning for movement. At the nest, each successful hunt feeds a single growing chick. Raising it will require repeated journeys across broken forest. Those long flights show how wide one family's range must be. Back in the canopy, smaller animals vanish behind layered leaves. Night specialists hide by day, tucked beneath broad, protective leaves. The forest's height turns every trunk into a possible route. Gliding links distant trees without a risky descent to ground. For the eagle, those same gaps open paths above the valleys. Back at rest, it watches quietly from a shaded perch. Below, tarsiers rely on stillness and cover until night. This vertical forest lets predator and prey occupy separate layers. Macaques feed together, using numbers to notice danger sooner. Younger animals learn routes and warnings by staying close to adults. A sudden launch reminds the canopy why vigilance never stops. For tiny primates, camouflage is often their strongest daytime defense. They remain folded into foliage, reducing every unnecessary movement. Their huge eyes are built for the low light ahead. Even before dusk, they grip vertical stems like secure pathways. Holding still keeps them unnoticed as the forest shifts toward night. In darkness, the same eyes begin to work at full strength. Slow, precise climbing helps them move without drawing attention. At night, insects and small prey become easier to detect, but concealment still matters, even for hunters adapted to darkness. With daylight returning, the tarsier withdraws into green cover. Sunlight opens the canopy for mammals that move more slowly. A binturong rests high, saving energy in the humid forest. Its tail and claws turn tangled branches into secure pathways. In this maze, balance can matter more than speed. Sensitive whiskers guide it through bark, leaves, and narrow gaps. High branches keep it away from any dangers below. Yet food sometimes draws it down from safer heights. The same animal can shift between ground and canopy when needed. Its slow search shows how dense forest rewards careful movement. Lower down, poor soils have produced a stranger strategy. Pitcher plants lure insects toward rims that can betray them. Ants feed near the edge, where one slip becomes costly. Inside, drowned insects release nutrients the plants cannot mine. Other pitchers wait below, turning rainwater into quiet traps. Their pooled liquid slowly breaks prey into usable food. Around them, leaf litter shelters recyclers working through fallen growth. Millipedes and other decomposers return nutrients to the forest floor. Beyond the trees, the island's story moves back to water. Reefs and forested slopes meet along a narrow coastal boundary. Water from the interior continues carrying life toward the sea. On higher branches, the eagle remains tied to intact forest. Below its territory, macaques keep exploiting fruit with practiced hands. Their strength is flexibility, reading food, rivals, and risk together. The forest's hunters still overlook waterways that lead into mangroves. Here, channels cut through roots, creating nurseries and travel lanes. Under the canopy, shadows make movement harder to judge. Crabs work the muddy edges where tide and forest overlap. From above, mangroves show how water builds branching shelter. At water level, the same channels become narrow corridors. Dense roots provide cover, but also conceal hidden predators. Caution becomes essential where visibility ends only a few meters away. Beneath the surface, roots protect young fish in crowded shallows. On shore, a mother macaque keeps her infant pressed close. The troop moves onto open sand, trading cover for food. Mangrove mud offers rewards, but footing and escape are difficult. Among the roots, every step must be placed carefully. A raised head shows the troop is still checking around. Some climb higher, using trunks to regain a safer view. The shoreline supports both mudskippers and larger, quieter hunters. Mudskippers skip over wet sand, feeding before the tide returns. Nearby roots hide shapes that are easier to miss than outrun. A crocodile lies nearly submerged, letting stillness disguise its size. From above, shallow water reveals how exposed the margins are. The reef looks open, yet channels can carry danger outward. Among mangrove roots, the crocodile blends with mud and shade. Only ripples betray movement as it shifts through the shallows. Still, macaques return because rich banks repay the risk. A sudden surge shows how quickly safety can disappear. The troop regroups on fallen trunks, relying on many watchers. The crocodile waits again, conserving power for a single strike. Its eyes and nostrils sit perfectly at the surface. This posture lets it breathe and watch while remaining hidden. Even close up, the waterline masks the body beneath. Back in the trees, macaques keep safer distance from the bank. Infants stay close, protected by adults that understand the hazard. Elsewhere in the mangroves, other reptiles patrol quieter edges. A monitor lizard seizes carrion or prey along the bank. Its jaws and claws make it an efficient shoreline scavenger. What remains returns to the water, feeding the mangrove system. At the mangrove edge, a monitor turns shoreline scraps into energy. Its patience and powerful senses make this boundary a reliable hunting ground. When threatened or moving on, water gives it a second route. Here, it can feed, hide, and disappear with equal ease. From the waterline, the story opens toward limestone forest beyond. Within that forest, caves hold cool chambers shaped by water. Water keeps carving through the rock, creating sheltered passageways for life. At the entrance, daylight marks the threshold to a hidden ecosystem. Outside, rivers connect these caves, forests, and mangrove channels. Dense vegetation traps moisture, building cover for animals above and below. Back in the caverns, darkness shelters species adapted to narrow spaces. Flooded chambers demand another kind of access, even for humans. The water-filled passages reveal how far this limestone system extends. Inside, explorers follow channels that wildlife has used for shelter. As light reaches the roof, resting bats expose a living ceiling. Hanging close together, bats conserve warmth and safety through daylight. Around the cave mouth, forest and colony stay tightly connected. At dusk, the colony spills outward to feed across the trees. Each night's return carries nutrients back into the cave. On the walls, smaller hunters survive on what the colony leaves. This hidden food web begins above, then concentrates beneath the cliffs. Narrow entrances create stable refuges where moisture rarely disappears. On the floor, invertebrates wait where vibration travels through stone. A tarantula relies on stillness until prey wanders within reach. Its strike is brief, conserving energy in a demanding habitat. Above this darker world, the canopy introduces quicker risks. Macaques read the branches carefully, balancing feeding with constant vigilance. Their caution is necessary, because hunters occupy the same canopy. For the monkeys, dense leaves offer cover, but not certainty. A sudden flight reminds them that danger can arrive silently. Every movement has consequence when a raptor is feeding young. The eagle waits above, turning patience into an advantage. Its eyesight searches gaps where nervous prey might reveal itself. At the nest, successful hunting becomes food for the next generation. The chick's growth depends on steady provisioning and a secure perch. High branches serve as nursery, lookout, and defensive refuge. The adult returns often, keeping the nest active and protected. Nearby macaques remain alert, even while feeding among familiar leaves. The canopy then descends into roots, flowers, and damp understory. Here, crowded plants recycle light into shelter and food. From above, the forest appears continuous, but habitats keep changing. As night falls, visibility fades and different senses take over. Under low light, A ground forager works cautiously through cover. Close by, a python waits where scent and movement converge. The ambush depends on restraint, using muscle instead of pursuit. Once the coils tighten, escape becomes a matter of seconds. The struggle shows how quickly nighttime foraging can turn dangerous. By the end, the predator's patience has become control. Before sunrise, the scene widens toward a more open world. Daylight reveals plains, where distance shapes every survival choice. With little cover, animals must balance movement against exposure. Here, lions use presence and territory before they use speed. A lone male crosses the grass, advertising strength without haste. His mane signals maturity, but heat makes every effort costly. Rest is not idleness, it preserves energy for later contests. Even resting, a dominant male keeps the landscape under watch. Scars and mane condition reveal the cost of holding ground. Partnership within the pride helps defend territory across wider distances. Small signals, from gaze to pasture, maintain rank without fighting. At water, the pride lowers caution, but never abandons it. Tall grass gives them cover between drinking, resting, and watching. Moving through cover, the male tests scent and sound ahead. When he settles, his position still marks the pride's range. From above, scattered bodies reveal a social group still connected. A broad mane advertises strength before any challenge begins. Calm eyes conceal readiness, the quiet courtesy of dominance. When contact becomes intimate, social bonds reinforce future pride stability. Afterward, the male returns to watching the edge of cover. Around him, lionesses and cubs occupy the safer center. Females test one another's signals, keeping cooperation within reach. Their coordination matters when the pride must hunt larger prey. For now, the male's attention stays fixed beyond the grass. He patrols with measured steps, conserving energy in the heat. As the pride settles, the wider savanna presses in around them. Large neighbors pass nearby, reminding lions they are not unchallenged. In the pride's shelter, rest and close contact protect the young. Cubs turn play into practice, learning strength without serious injury. These early lessons prepare them for the open country ahead. Beyond the pride, another hunt begins to take shape. A lioness watches from cover, reading movement before committing. Potential prey rely on vigilance, turning every graze into scanning. But buffalo bring a different challenge, built on mass and numbers. Their herd tightens naturally, making any approach more costly. Each horned adult adds weight to the group's defense. Even predators must respect an animal that can countercharge. The buffalo keep feeding, but their bodies remain angled for danger. A slight shift in attention can warn the entire herd. Nearby, the lioness waits for separation, other than a direct fight. The herd answers pressure by keeping shoulders and horns together. When they move, dust and confusion disrupt the hunter's timing. The charge turns the herd into a moving wall of muscle. Once the surge passes, distance opens between predators and prey. The hunters must reset, searching again for weakness at the edge. When contact comes, the buffalo's strength resists the first hold. The struggle becomes a contest of leverage, weight, and endurance. Bites hold fast, but the herd's pressure remains dangerous. Only after resistance fades can the pride claim its reward. The plains soon return to space, heat, and watchful distance. A resting male saves strength for challenges that may follow. Farther out, elephants move with a security few animals possess. Their families cross open ground under the protection of size. Calves stay among adult legs, where danger is blocked quickly. Ears, skin, and tusks speak of long adaptation to heat. Trunks test vegetation and air, gathering information with every touch. Even lions watch carefully when such weight enters the grass. The comparison is clear. Predators dominate only when conditions allow. As the herd closes ranks, family becomes its strongest defense. Together they move on, reshaping the plain one step at a time. In high grass, buffalo's safety begins with staying close together. Even elephants meet danger when predators press a vulnerable youngster. Between encounters, the story widens to habitats that shape survival. At dawn, new ground reveals how geography sets every challenge. In river forest, proboscis monkeys rely on watchfulness before moving. Their leaps connect feeding trees, but each gap demands judgment. Below, water brings escape routes and predators into the same channel. A crossing may save distance, yet every splash carries risk. Back in the branches, experience teaches when to hesitate. The wetland opens below, binding forest, floodplain, and shore. Fast water divides territories, forcing animals toward limited passages. In the reeds, the shoebill survives by almost disappearing. It patrols muddy margins where fish gather in shallow water. Patience matters more than pursuit, because one strike must count. Tall grass lets it wait, while prey betrays itself slowly. On firmer ground, its careful steps conserve balance and energy. Nearby browsers show the wetland edges support many feeding levels. Stillness remains its cover, the bill ready for sudden force. Each movement stays slow, so prey senses little before attack. Around the marsh, open woodland marks another route to food. Zebras graze beside the swamp, adding vigilance to the scene. The shoebill keeps apart, locked on smaller signals in shadow. Among palms and reeds, concealment turns patience into advantage. Its heavy bill suits the hidden prey of saturated ground. Even wide wetlands narrow into edges where hunters wait. A sudden spread of wings restores balance in difficult vegetation. Every step through reeds must avoid warning prey too soon. Beyond the marsh, forested hills feed water back into plains. Elephants follow older routes through dry woodland toward water. As cover thins, distance becomes a test of endurance. On bare cliffs, mountain goats trust grip more than speed. Snow leopards answer with camouflage, moving where rock hides them. The cat studies the cliff, waiting for a risky opening. Prey climbs into places where one mistake can decide survival. Loose stone turns pursuit into a contest of balance. Far below, water becomes the route for another heavy body. Open plains spread risk across herds moving toward water. Antelope stay near wet ground, feeding while keeping distance. At crowded margins, heads lower only when others keep watch. Wading slows escape, so every animal drinks with caution. As light drops, water holes gather species under shared pressure. Tall browsers drink carefully, exposed while their heads are lowered. Even a strong antelope hesitates before leaving the shallows. Dry plains show how scarcity pulls animals into predictable paths. In forest shade, pigs root where fallen wood shields them. Their snouts test the soil, finding food under leaf litter. Around the bank, rich forest provides cover, but limits warning. Mist over the canopy signals another world shaped by water. Here, a tiger uses striped shadow to approach unseen. Its prey feeds in cover, trusting vegetation and hearing. When movement breaks the pattern, the forest reacts at once. The tiger waits by water, where thirst can narrow choices. Across the bank, prey keeps distance from the open crossing. Resting in shade, the cat saves strength for the right chance. The canopy above softens light, making outlines harder to read. In another forest, a jaguar hunts where branches meet water. Its rosettes dissolve into shade, concealing power until motion. Caimans rule the surface, but they are not beyond danger. At the falls, the jaguar measures current, footing, and distance. Turtles and caimans share banks, where sunlit rest remains risky. Among reeds, small ripples reveal movement before bodies appear. When the jaguar enters water, stealth becomes strength in motion. From forest rivers, the coast opens into a broader frontier. Offshore, fins cut the surface as hunters travel together. In deep water, coordination replaces the cover land animals use. Loose formations let the group search without losing contact. Below the surface, each body reads pressure and movement. The pod turns together, proving size alone is not enough. From above, their paths show strategy across open water. Even at speed, the group holds order around the prey. Farther north, sea ice changes every rule of movement. Polar bears carry huge reserves for cold and long travel. A wet coat shows the sea remains part of their range. Scent and hearing guide them where white horizons hide detail. Their strength is adapted to waiting as much as hunting. On open ice, distance turns each movement into expenditure. Back in grassland, lions hide until prey moves too close. The savanna offers space, but little shelter from watchers. Giraffes feed high, using height as an early warning system. In groups, their vigilance extends beyond what each one sees. A lioness keeps low, using grass to close the gap. Dust can hide movement, but it also alarms the plain. When herds gather, many eyes make surprise more difficult. Near water, predators wait for thirst to overcome caution. Forest fragments offer refuge where moisture still holds in shade. Beneath the trees, fallen branches slow both prey and pursuer. Beyond the forest, open corridors expose every traveling animal. Buffalo graze in numbers, trusting mass and many watchers. A male lion marks authority simply by holding visible ground. Newborns have little time to rise before danger notices. In tall grass, buffalo disappear partly despite their size. Lions use the same cover, waiting for weakness in the herd. Scars on the male tell of contests already survived. Landscapes this wide turn water and shade into valuable assets. Dry country leaves animals spread thin between reliable places. River channels concentrate life, drawing movement back to green corridors. At the edge, hippos rest where water supports their weight. Curving rivers become lifelines through otherwise hard country during dry months. Elephants and giraffes follow the same pull toward remaining water. At the mud, family order keeps young calves within reach. Cracked banks reveal how quickly abundance can become shortage. Predators gather at water too, as elephants guard their young. On exposed banks, carcasses and crossings draw attention from scavengers. A rhinoceros swallows, using mud to protect skin and cool down. Across the scrub, elephants keep moving toward the next refuge. Hippos hold the shallows, defended by size and submerged strength. Above the bank, a leopard keeps food safe beyond reach. Still above the ground, the leopard keeps its meal beyond scavengers' reach. That height protects its kill, but every exposed climb costs energy. As daylight fades, heat becomes the night's hidden map. Through that map, predators and prey appear by warmth, not color. Movement breaks the calm, as unseen hunters force bodies into flight. Above the ground again, darkness turns branches into safer resting places. With morning, wild dogs return to the open country in a pack. Water and tracks guide them, narrowing where a hunt might begin. A warthog feeding near its burrow stays exposed only briefly. That brief exposure is enough for the dogs to organize pursuit. The warthog's refuge lies underground, where speed gives way to defense, but the pack presses the opening, testing whether the shelter will hold. Their cooperation keeps pressure constant, one dog covering for another. When the rush ends, the survivors spread again across the scrub. Ahead, lions enter the story with slower, heavier authority. Their pride moves together, making the track part of their territory. A lioness slips through cover, choosing patience before any burst. Close beside water, the pride's power is measured in presence first. Even resting lions must yield space when elephants approach the bank. Shade becomes a refuge, letting the pride save strength for night. On the open floodplain, antelope drink where grass offers little cover. A mud-coated buffalo can endure heat while lions watch from cover. At the water's edge, buffalo crowd together against sudden pressure. Their numbers turn a vulnerable drink into a collective defense. For a lion, that wall of horns demands careful judgment. When weakness is found, the attack must commit instantly and fully. Only after the struggle ends can the pride claim its reward. Soon the emptiness around a kill begins drawing other eyes. Rest follows the effort, because every hunt spends scarce energy. Elsewhere, a leopard waits low, built for silence over strength. The lions, meanwhile, recover in cover while heat presses down. A yawn marks rest, but not the end of attention. High or hidden, each cat uses position to read the plain. Tall grass dissolves the outline, letting approach replace open chase. Every step is placed softly, saving noise for the final rush. Her tail and ear signal focus as the distance closes. Low through the stems, she becomes part of the grass. Nearby, buffalo gather again, anchoring life around the same water. From cover, the lioness reads the herd before choosing a line. One mistake against buffalo can turn hunger into injury. Dust rises as the herd's response closes around the threat. At the carcass, feeding order and danger remain tightly linked. For the young, staying close to adults is survival's first lesson. A calf steps through dry grass, learning the herd's rhythm. Adults surround the young, turning mass and horns into protection. A solitary bull moves more cautiously, without the herd's full shield. Once predators leave enough space, vultures begin the next chapter. Their descent signals that a carcass is open for cleanup. A waiting vulture spends little energy until access improves. More birds gather above, judging the ground before dropping in. On the ground, competition is noisy, but remarkably efficient. Even lions shape the feeding order after they step away. beaks replace teeth, stripping remains that would otherwise linger. Water draws scavengers too, where thirst follows the work of feeding. Wet feathers must be dried before these heavy birds can soar. Between meals, even waste and scraps keep the cleanup system moving. Small birds work where giants rest, taking insects from thick skin. The river becomes a refuge, with hippos using depth as defense. Packed together, they save moisture and space through the hottest hours. But crowded water also brings friction, especially among powerful adults. A raised head is enough to remind neighbors of the rules. Passengers exploit the giants, while the giants barely need to move. Below the surface, size and jaws maintain order in the pool. Beyond the water, lions continue to track weakness on land. Yet hyenas work the margins, finding value in what remains. Their entrance suits long patrols across the open grass. Each call and glance keeps the clan connected over distance. Near lions, they measure opportunity without closing too soon. Scavengers meet at the same signs, each waiting for access. Numbers let hyenas challenge leftovers that others cannot defend alone. In the grass, a hidden carcass still draws watchful competitors. A lone hyena reads scent carefully before risking another step. Trees protect the leopard's meal, while lions control the ground below. A male lion waits at the edge, conserving dominance through stillness. Heavy paws mark territory as surely as any visible boundary. Ahead, buffalo return to water, guided by habit and heat. Their horns and heavy skulls make every adult a difficult target. Across the pool, water gathers many defenses in one place. At the bank, the herd drinks in a compressed, watchful line. So many bodies make the shoreline harder for predators to read. Outside the crush, a pair still keeps their attention forward. A bull listens from cover, alert to shifts around him. Among males, rank is tested before predators ever intervene. The contest settles slowly, measured in pressure rather than speed. Afterward, mud cools the skin and marks the struggle's course. Even tired, a buffalo remains too dangerous to rush blindly. The herd closes ranks, turning dust and mass into warning. Up close, every horn carries the memory of previous fights. Feeding resumes, but the head stays low only briefly. Then force erupts again, sending dust across the track. A lion watches from open ground, weighing distance against reward. For a better vantage, he climbs where buffalo cannot follow. Below, the herd continues feeding, powerful enough to ignore him. From deeper cover, the lioness turns patience into her main weapon. Across the water, the pride keeps pressure without rushing the herd. Evening pulls buffalo back to the edge, where reflections reveal movement. As the light fails, the savanna changes into a cooler map. In that map, an elephant's heat signature becomes impossible to miss. A lion appears as heat, and the night hunt takes shape. Now sight gives way to senses better suited for darkness. Giraffes stand high above the scrub, still vulnerable but alert. Through grass, pale heat traces where animals move without sound. Zebras bunch together, using stripes and numbers even at night. The lion holds low, watching for separation rather than panic. A zebra's face turns toward danger, senses testing the darkness. At water, giraffes crowd together, each heightening the group's warning system. By full darkness, survival depends on silence, spacing, and vigilance. Night vision reduces the dark to heat. Exposing where bodies move, giraffes stay together, using height to extend the herd's warning system. Around them, heavier grazers feed slowly, the heat betraying every pause. Even grass holds the night's chill, as dawn begins to thin cover. Under bare trees, gathered bodies show how animals choose shared shelter. As tall sentinels move on, smaller birds settle into the open. Grouped tightly, the birds make stillness part of their defense. One bird breaks from the group, keeping distance as its defense. Across the floodplain, open water links feeding sites and exposed crossings. By the water, birds gather where visibility comes at a cost. Hyenas appear in the thermal view, moving together through the grass. Before sunrise, the pack keeps searching where scattered animals seem vulnerable. Daylight finds them at a carcass, where scavengers recover the night's losses. The wider plain explains the stakes. Water is thinly spread. Patches of shade and cover become the routes animals must negotiate. At the river, hippos crowd together in the safest water. But beneath the surface, crocodiles wait with almost no movement. Their stillness saves energy for the brief opening a drinker gives. A gaping jaw calls the body, while patience continues the hunt. Near the banks, each hidden shape can turn a crossing dangerous. remains at the edge draw birds, and every scavenger takes its turn. Crocodiles hold both water and shore, shifting without breaking concealment. On land, armor and patience make them hard to dislodge. Back in the current, only the eyes need show. Submerged backs trace the river's danger before the jaws appear. Antelope drink quickly, taking water only while the group watches. Across from them, floating eyes mark another kind of surveillance. Beyond the river, open grassland leaves few mistakes unseen. Movement here is a calculation between food, distance, and cover. The river's power reshapes the land long before animals arrive. Its spray feeds a green edge beside an otherwise exposed plain. A lone zebra shows the risk of distance from the herd. Its stripes protect best when broken among many moving bodies. Back in the group, the pattern becomes a shared confusion. At crossings, the river narrows choices and slows every escape. Hippos occupy the channel, making water a defended boundary. Their presence alone changes where smaller animals dare to enter. Zebras approach cautiously, reading the river before lowering their heads. They drink in turns, keeping enough eyes above the water. Once away from the bank, the herd reforms and moves on. A dust bath clears parasites, but it briefly costs awareness. Nearby, a lioness watches from cover, waiting for attention to loosen. She holds the edge of the thicket, saving energy before any move. Warthogs come to water, exactly where cover can hide approach. The lioness stays low, using grass to erase her outline. Even among larger animals, she keeps to shaded margins. The warthogs head down feeding, gives only brief chances to react. Then movement breaks the calm, and the chase collapses into struggle. For the lions, success must be eaten quickly before competitors gather. Over the savannah, changing weather redraws where water and prey will be. Across this mosaic, predators range widely, following opportunity rather than landmarks. Rest becomes strategy too, conserving strength through the difficult heat. When they move again, they do so slowly and with purpose. Water draws prey and predators into the same narrow stage. The pride spreads through cover, each body extending the search. Every pause becomes information, as hunters compare movement and distance. Even birds above the brush can signal disturbance below. In the river, hippos hold the water through sheer mass. A male lion crossing water trades strength for sudden vulnerability. Back in cover, the cat regains concealment and control. Giraffes rely on height first, turning long sightlines into warning. At the river, many raised heads widen the shared lookout, but drinking pulls even giants down into a dangerous pasture. Away from water, browsing lets them feed while keeping height. Thorny branches slow them, yet leaves reduce trips to drink. Every pause is used for scanning as much as feeding. Open ground makes their movements visible from a great distance. Mixed herds share the same risk, broadening the alarm system. Each drink is brief, because recovery from this stance takes time. Around the pool, different species trade vigilance without needing cooperation. Raised necks resume the watch, closing gaps left at water. Even nearby waterbirds benefit when taller animals detect trouble first. At the shoreline, giraffes test space and order beside the channel. Their calm contact helps maintain spacing before the next movement. Across the plain, height remains useful only with room to see. A solitary giraffe trusts distance, but isolation reduces early warning. Predator and prey use the same cover for very different reasons. Branches hide the giraffe partly, though its height still gives it away. The lions move together, letting numbers support a measured advance. From above, the savanna opens into a larger, connected landscape. Large herds gather beneath trees, turning numbers into practical safety. Then the habitat shifts seaward, where currents shape a different frontier. Along the coast, forest and clear water create new hunting edges. Sunlit canopy gives way to channels that carry life inland. Mangroves slow the water, sheltering young animals among tangled roots. Within that cover, smaller lives move quietly through the